Okay, so today we're going to be talking about English Language Paper 1, Question 2. I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step guide in this video of how to approach the question, and I'm also going to be talking you through each stage, what you should be doing if you want to be aiming for the maximum amount of marks. So let's have a look at it, shall we? Question 2 is not the most marks on the paper, right? It's it's only worth 8 marks as opposed to question 4, which is worth 20, so that's really important. But it is something that you are going to need to work on if you want to do well in English, because question 2 is all about language analysis, and that's a skill you're going to use across English language, across English literature. If you want to do well in English, you've got to be able to analyse language. So let's have a look at an example question. We've already read our source that goes with this paper, right? So the source is an extract of fiction from a short story or novel, and it's about a side of A4 long. We've read it through and done some annotation on it maybe. And then we get to question 2. Here's our example question. Read again the section of the source from lines 13 to 24. So it'll give you probably a couple of paragraphs worth, maybe a paragraph, which is a longer paragraph, but a small section of text that you've got to analyse the language on. How does a writer use language to describe, and they'll always start it a bit like that, and then they'll give you something specific. How does the writer use language here to describe the atmosphere of the extract? The atmosphere of the extract. You could include the writer's choice of words and phrases, language features and techniques, and sentence forms. And then we've got a small kind of extract underneath that they've picked out. I'm going to ask you to pause the video here and just read that little extract. Do that now. Pause it. And I'm going to assume that everybody has paused the video and they've read the little extract. It's a little bit from a Sherlock Holmes story, that, right? So let's go through step by step what we've got to do. First thing we want to be doing is annotating the source. Now, by annotating, we mean circling, underlining key words and phrases and labeling up those words and phrases, not just highlighting stuff, but writing little notes about why we've highlighted it. What you want to try and do is look for anything interesting about the characters, about the settings, about the emotions, particularly in this extract. And anytime you circle a little word or phrase as you're reading that's got something to do with the character or setting or emotion, label up what it actually tells you. Okay, so what is it about the character that phrase makes you think? What sort of emotion are we trying to get across with that particular phrase, right? And that's the most important thing. Let's have a look at levels of annotation, shall we? In the extract, we've got the sentence, the stars shone bright and cold while a half moon bathed the scene in a soft, uncertain light. And in this bit, I have circled soft and uncertain, and I've put mysterious, because I think it makes the setting seem a bit mysterious to say soft, uncertain light. Now that's pretty good. It's a short quotation. We've got an effect of that quotation. If we want to do better with our annotations, we'd add an extra layer to it. Layers are going to be really important for the higher level marks, so pay attention to it. I'm going to say that this is not just mysterious, but it's also slightly uncertain. Okay, so mysterious and also slightly unsettling. Okay, because it's not just mysterious, it also puts us on edge a little bit, that quotation. If I want to do even better, I'm then going to add in a technical term as well. What technique is the writer using to make us feel mysterious, unsettled atmosphere? Okay, and in this case, they're using a couple of adjectives. So I'm going to put in the annotation mysterious, unsettling adjectives. Now you do that for the whole extract, and it should look a little bit like this. You're aiming to get annotations across the whole of the little extract you've got in there, so there's no big gaps where there's no annotations, but you're not highlighting literally everything in there. Okay. We're trying to keep our quotations as precise as possible, and the key thing is the effect of them, right? What does it make us think? What does it make us feel about the setting, or what emotions does it make us feel? And if we can put techniques with it, so we're using personification here to make us think this, or we're using a short sentence here to make us feel this, that's great. Next, step 2 is we want to group our ideas together. Look at the annotations you've got so far and come up with the 2 big points that answer the question. So in this case, the question is, how does a writer use language to describe the atmosphere of the extract? I'm going to say the main things are that the atmosphere is mysterious, but it's also tense. Again, we're looking for those different layers. This, but also this. If you can say this, but also this, it's much more likely to be a sophisticated idea rather than just one idea, right? And that's going to get you to the top level marks and make your answer more perceptive, which is what we've got to go for when we write our answer. Step 3 is writing our answer, okay? Let's have a look at what the mark scheme actually asks us to do when we're writing the answer. It wants us to explain the effects of language, wants us to use quotations to prove our answers, and it wants us to explain what techniques are being used to create effects. right? So if we've done those annotations, we're already set up for all of that, okay? If we have a look at this table here, to get up to our top level marks, the word that they use to describe it, 7 or 8 marks out of 8, is perceptive. So in that case, we want to explain the effects of language with sophisticated ideas, those ideas with different layers. It's this, but it's also this. We want to use a range of precise and well-chosen quotations, so not just a huge sentence copied out, but zooming in on the bit of the quotation that really makes the difference. And we want to use technical terms to describe our effects if we can. Okay, let's have a look at an example answer that does all of that. Okay, we start off with the sentence which sums up our big ideas and gives an overall sense of the answer. Overall senses of the answer are really key to getting those top level marks, making it sophisticated and perceptive. So the writer uses language to create a mysterious atmosphere that is increasingly tense. So not just mysterious, not just the kind of clear this idea, but it's this and also this, right? Mysterious and increasingly tense. Then we prove it with a bunch of quotations. They create a sense of mystery by using strangely contrasting and unsettling adjectives like soft, uncertain light, and using secretive imagery, such as the simile like a strange ship upon a shadowy sea, which is mysterious because of the shadows, but also eerie because it describes the ship in this image as strange. So we've got a bunch of short quotations. We're zooming in on bits of the quotations and pulling them apart a little bit. And we're explaining the effect, what it makes us feel or what it makes us think. If we can throw in then some technical stuff as well, great. Second part of the answer, we're going to prove our tension. We've already proved the mystery. Let's prove the tension. In fact, the mystery becomes increasingly tense as the extract continues. The short dramatic sentence, one of them was suddenly shut off, makes the reader apprehensive, especially when the host is described with the violent adjective murderous. It makes you wonder what he's about to do. This tension is then increased as the fog surrounds the house with the disturbing personification of the fog wreaths came crawling round, making us think the weather is threatening the inhabitants.